Hello. Hello. Online you can hear me well? Jai Jai Surnayak Jana Sukhdayak Pradapala Bhagavanta Godvijayitakari Jaya Surari Sindhu Sutta Priyakanta Palan Suradharani Atbhudakarani Maranajani Koi Jo Sahaja Kripala Dina Dayala Karuanugrasoi Jai Jaya Abhinasi Sabhagatavasi Vyapak Paramananda Abhigat Gotitam Charita Punitam Mayavaitu Mukunda Jilagi Viragi Ati Anuragi Vigata Moha Muni Vrinda Nisiva Saradhyani Gunaganagavahi Jayati Sachidananda Jayishti Upai Vividavanai Sangha Sahayana Duja Sokalovadari Chinta Hamari Jamiya Bhakti Na Puja Jo Bhavana Bhanjan Muni Manaranjan Ranjana Vipati Baruta Manan Vachamavani Stadi Sayani Sarana Sakar Sarajuta Sarata Sruti Sesha Vishaya Shesha Japam Koi Na Jana Jevi Naviyare Ved Pukare Prabhu Sushi Bhagavana Prabhu Sushi Bhagavana Bhagavati Mandara Sabse Sundar Mandira Sukha Punja Muni Sakala Suraparamaya Namadata Padakanja Jaya Jaya Abhinasi Sabhagatavasi Vyapak Paramananda Abhigata Gotitam Charita Punitam Mayavaitu Mukunda Jayagi Viragi Ati Anuragi Vigata Moha Muni Vrinda Nisiva Saradhyavai Gunaganagavai Jayati Sachidananda. Today was different tune. Every day different tunes. We have to wait for the singers to come. Is the Ramcharitmanas, the one that we've been talking about. This Aarti is from there as well. Ramayana written by Sri Tulsidas Ji, who was a great sage of India. So he made it accessible to everyone, to the common folk who didn't know Sanskrit, who didn't know great education and things like that. So it's very singable. So then people would just take the verses and just sing the chopais, which I don't know if I can do. After this tune, now this tune is different. First, maybe I can just say something and then we see. So it goes in this rhythm. It is Kupat Mag Ruj Vyakul Rogi Vaid na de Sunuhu Muni Jogi. Kupat Mag Raghu Vyakul Rogi Vaid na de Sunuhu Muni Jogi. एही विधि हित तुम्हार मैं ठ्याऊ कहीं अस अंतरहित प्रभु भयाओ. terrible reading, but this is the Hindi. हे योगी मुनि सुनिए रोग से व्याकुल रोगी कुपथ्य मांगे तो वैद्य उसे नहीं देता. इसी प्रकार मैंने भी तुम्हारा हित करने की ठान ली है. ऐसा कहकर भगवान अंतर ध्यान हो गए. So saying that if the patient asks for something which actually is not for in their best interest, then the doctor does not give it to them. In the same way, when we pray to God, and if we ask for things and if they are not in our best interest, then God will not give them to us. And we must learn to accept that, because we don't know what's in our best interest. So this book is full of any of these chopais can bring us so much insight, so much grace, so much knowledge. So those who can read Hindi can take this. I'm also reading every morning a little bit. So get a hang of it a bit. Who wants Hindi one?
So what is the story of Rama after yoga?
After yoga. And before actually his birth. Oh. Just that part of it is missing. That part is not.
Yoga Vasishta was done while he was young?
When he was young, a prince, yes.
Is it more of a phenomenological angle compared to Yoga Vasishta, where it's more like teaching?
Yes. Hindi, nobody else? I ordered so many. So these are published by these beautiful publishers called Gita Press. So Gita Press makes these books for some 200 rupees. Just at cost. Their whole idea is to spread the knowledge as much as they can. So they publish, and they've been publishing for about 100 years or maybe more than that. And it's all at cost price. And even at cost, it's very nice paper and things like that. So, and this is just 200 rupees. So and if you're reading Hindi online, you can go to Amazon and order as well. There are some English translations as well.
All the pages are folded here.
Some of them, yes. Exactly as he wrote it. And then Hanuman Prasad Poddar has translated it. So the translation is in Hindi from the original dialect of Hindi called Awadhi. It's very different. Yeah. Hanuman Prasad Poddar ji, we've been hearing some Satsang, no?
Some Hindi words are a bit
Some of the Hindi words are more difficult, that's true.
I'm born and brought up in North India, but this is too clear.
So you'll get the hang of it the more we read it.
Yeah, this actually a dictionary. Yeah, exactly. It's actually a Boli, right?
Yeah? It's a Boli dialect. Yes.
No script, but Hindi.
Hindi. Some people still talk like that over there. Eastern UP and yeah.
How old is the original writing?
The 1600s. So not ancient. 1600s is after Saint Teresa of Avila, along with Mirabai.
And before that, it was just for the plants?
No, this was written in this version of the Ramayana was written by Tulsidaji in the 1600s.
Oh.
It just came to him, right? It's his completely from his.
Yeah, but he's, I'm sure, studied it all his life. He gives all praise to Valmiki, all those people at the beginning.
Also, Valmiki wrote it first.
Valmiki wrote it first, most likely. At least the first known version is Valmiki.
It must be harder to read.
It's Sanskrit. So Sanskrit is a different language, the ancient language. The first. First ever.
First and best.
First ever written.
There's a different Hindi.
This is Avadi, and then translation is Hindi.
Okay.
That's why it's a Hindi translation. I'll also order some English ones if somebody wants. So if you want to get a hang of reading it, because reading it without singing is difficult. So let's see if the tune comes. So excuse the bad singing, but just to get a hang of the tune. So I'm reading page 3 of Balkand. Because the shlok is done in a different tune, and the dohas are done in a different tune, and the sotas are done in a different tune. So I'm going to start with the second part of the page 3. So this says Bandho Guru Padam Padam Paraga Suruchi Subhas Sarasa Anuraga Bandho Guru Padam Padam Paraga Suruchi Subhas Sarasa Anuraga Amiye Murimya Churan Charu Saman Sakal Bhavraju Parivaru Sukriti Sambhutan Bimal Vibhuti Manjul Mangal Mod Prasuti Janamana Manju Mukur Malharni Kiye Tilak Gun Gan Bas Karani Shri Guru Pad Nakhamani Gan Jyoti Sumirat Divya Drishti Hoti Dalan Mohatam So Saprakasu Bade Bhagur Avai Jasu Urahi Bimal Balochan Ke Mitati Dosh Dukh Bhav Rajni Ke Sujai Ram Charit Mani Manik Gupat Pragat Ja Jo Jai Khanik. So that is the approximate tune. Shall we try again? Bandho Guru Padam Paraga Suruchi Subhas Sarasa Anuraga Amiya Murimeya Churan Charu Saman Sakal Bhav Ruj Parivaru Sukriti Sandhutan Bimal Vibhuti Manjul Mangal Mod Prasuti Janaman Manju Mukur Malharni Kiye Tilak Gun Gan Bas Karani Shri Guru Pad Nakhamani Gan Jyoti Sumirat Divya Drishti Hoti Dalan Mohatam Suprakasu Bade Bhagur Ave Jasu Udar hi Abhiman के मिटती दोष दुख भव रजनी के सूजय रामचरित मणि मानिक गुपुत प्रगट जहाँ जो जोय जान खानिक. That's the meter. Nice? You're just humoring me.
Sounds nice, but understood nothing.
So this is very beautiful actually, this one I've read before. So this part like Sri Gurupad, no? This beautiful statement here which goes श्री गुरु महाराज के चरण नखों की ज्योति मानिक्यों के प्रकाश समान है, जिसके स्मरण करते ही हृदय में दिव्य दृष्टि उत्पन्न हो जाती है. वह प्रकाश अज्ञान रूपी अंधकार का नाश करने वाला है. वह जिसके हृदय में आ जाता है वो उसके बड़े भाग्य हैं. So what is he talking about? He is saying that the holy feet of the Sadguru is like the stone which gives light everywhere, wherever it goes. Whatever it touches becomes gold. So whoever comes in contact with the Sadguru's feet then gets the Divya Drishti, which means the divine insight within their hearts, and then this holy light, whoever gets, are the luckiest ones. And this is exactly what we talk about in Satsang, that it's all about coming to that Holy Spirit, the holy insight of the God's presence within our hearts, so that our life can become enlightened in this way, and those for whom this holy light becomes apparent, those are truly blessed. Okay, let's go to the next page. Gurupad Raj Mad Manjul Anjan Nayana Miya Drig Dosh Vibhanjan Tehi Kari Bimal Vivek Bilochan Barnau Ram Charit Bhav Mochan Bandau Gratham Mai Sur Charana Mohi Janit Sansay Sabharana Sujan Samaj Sakal Gun Khani Karu Pranam Saprem Subhani Sadhu Charit Subh Charit Kapasu Niras Bisad Gunamay Fal Jasu Jo Sai Dukh Parishad Shad Durava Bandaniya Jai Jag Jas Pava Mud Mangal Sant Samaju Jo Jag Jangam Tirat Raju Ram Bhakti Jiyam Sursari Dhara Saras Brahma Vichara Prachara Biti Nidashedamaya Kalimal Harani Karama Katha Rabindanandani Bharani Harihar Katha Virajit Beni Sunat Sakal Mul Mengal Deni Batu Bisvas Achal Nij Dharma Tirat Raj Samaj Sukha Karma Sabhi Sulabh Sab Din Sab Desa Sayavat Sadar Saman Kalesa Athakal Alaukik Tirathav Deis Sajai Fal Pragat Prabhav. So the Doha is in a different tune because the meter is different. So what they say you have to do is you have to add Ram Ram or Sita Ram at the end. So it will go सुनी समझहि जन मुदित मन मजहि अति अनुराग सीता रामा लह लहि चारि पल अछत तनु साधु समाज प्रयाग सीता रामा. So then it becomes in the same meter, otherwise it's a different way to sing.
So what is the Doha, what he wrote?
Everything is what he wrote.
Siddhas.
He wrote the chopais, the doha, the sotha, the everything.
We don't have this one so far.
So when you do the reading traditionally, you read the doha, read all the chopais between the dohas and come to the next doha and you pause over there. Then next day you read the doha again, then the chopais and then come. The chopai is the 4-part one. No? The chopai.
So the Doha, the 2 lines, and
Yeah.
then the Chopai is 4.
The 4-part. Yeah.
And
Then doha again, or you could have a sotha. Sotha is different, it's reverse meter. Then it starts with the sotha. No?
slow.
Sotha it's called.
But in the book I'm reading, they tell you when to stop.
Yeah.
So you can either read the whole book in 9 days,
Yeah.
one Prati day.
Yeah.
So each, some pages and this is
So if you read from doha to doha, then it should be a year or something like that. Because very short, no?
Yeah,
Short
maybe
section.
like it's maybe.
So sing, you can sing it now.
In that
You have
video,
to
you
go up per day.
Per day is one method, yes.
in that
So if
video
you're
you
feeling,
said there is a Siaram after every
which one, which
the
video?
Chopai, those videos, the YouTube. That I think after every Chopai there is a Ram, Siaram,
Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Ram, Siya Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Ramkatha used to have that tune.
This is the Ram Katha. This is the Ram Katha. This is only the Ram Katha. Anakalasam Jap Nam Japat Mangal Disida Tasahon Suniri Sonam Ram Gunagata Karunai Ragunathi Mata. Then that tune will be different. Yeah, it won't, maybe in this, there's very different tune for the chopais also. So I don't know whether this tune will go with that. Play it, yeah.
Yeah, to read it.
Which is the one that, the one where he's with it.
पढ़ते हैं
This one?
या गाते भी हैं तो थोड़ा सा और आगे करते हैं जामवंत के वचन सुहाए सुनी हनुमंत हृदय अति भाए तब लगी मोही परिखे हो तुम भाई सही दुख कंद मूल फल खाई जब लगी आवो सीत ही देखी होई ही काजू मोही हरस बिसेखी. ठीक है, तो इस तरह से हम चौपाई पढ़ते हैं. समझ गए होंगे आप लोग. अब दूसरा दोहा. तो दोहा में थोड़ा वाला पार्ट जो है दोहे जो आपने सुने हैं वो दोहा पढ़ने के तर्ज बेसिक तर्ज है. ठीक है, जैसे कि बुरा जो देखन में चला बुरा न मिलया कोई जो दिल खोजा अपना मुझसे बुरा न कोई कबीरा मुझसे बुरा न कोई. तो देख.
So if you were to try that, so we would be. So if you go to the doha at the end of page 3, Yeah, one minute. We'll just try this one. So we say Jatha Suanjan Anjidrug Sadhak Siddhi Sujan Kautuk Dekhat Sailaban Bhutal Bhuri Nadan Tulsi Bhutal Bhuri Nidan. But then to come back to this tune is very difficult with the chopai. If you do this, yeah. So then that's why he only said later that it's better to keep singing in the chopai tune and add that Sita Rama at the end or Ram Ram at the end.
I can't.
Yeah, to switch back is tough.
No, I can't. I've forgotten what we had.
Yeah.
It's so dead. Must be started.
The Aarti is in Balkand, much further down. There are many Aartis in the book.
So after Ravan came, so that we explained.
That is explained. So this is just, in the beginning he's just sharing about bowing down to the gods, bowing down to the masters, and then he talks about not getting caught in bad company and finding the sangat of a guru, finding the right people, because bad company then is contaminative in that way. So he's talking about some of that. Then after that the story will start.
So the verses they used in drama and serial is the Valmiki. Isn't it?
A lot of it was from here. Most of the singing one, all from here.
All from this.
Yeah.
But that's a different.
Yeah.
Or did they make it?
We find, I don't know whether it's a Sotha or a Doha. No, it's very much in the Ramayana. Like this whole, what we played just now, the Aarti, Jai Jai Abhinasi is also from here. And in fact, I've got it from here. It should say the page number. Does it say? No.
185 Balkan.
185, Balkan. Not page number, it will be some verse or section.
All the dialogues are also sung.
Yeah, everything in the Katha is sung. So traditionally the gurus would read the Chaupai, the Dohas, and then they would share, make a commentary on it and share. In many traditions, this is all they do. In the Guru Parampara, this is all that they do. They just refer to Ramcharitmanas and read from there, and then they talk about what the master is telling us. There's another tradition where we just read the Bhagavatam. Krishna's life.
So they do in this school. We read the Bhagavatam.
The
We
Bhagavatam.
have the soul in
Yeah.
the kids read it at school.
Huh?
Do kids read this at
The
school?
kids is very, not in school, no. At least not in the city schools. Yeah, maybe.
Religious schools.
Some traditional schools, some Vedic schools, maybe. Huh?
Into the meter, so many things. Also, such a huge, so much they've said in the form of poetry that too.
So beautiful.
Meter, right?
So beautiful.
Very difficult.
So one of his contemporaries was Rahimji. Rahimji also wrote so many dohas. Then the previous generation was Kabir Das ji. He was very famous for his duas. And all the duas we usually hear is from Kabir in that tune. This is after, about 1 or 2 generations after. Kabir, we were looking the other day, was in the 1500 something, and Tulsidas in the 1600 something. They had correspondence between them, between Mirabai Ma and Tulsidas ji. There was correspondence.
Was Mirabai here in India as well?
Yeah, everything. Yes, Rajasthan, close to Rajasthan. Isn't it Rajasthan? Marwar. It's completely different satsang today. Should we get back to regular programming or stay in this mode? It'll be nice, no? If we do this little every day, then after a year or 2 years, we'll be good at singing the Ramayana. It'll be so nice. And some of you will be good. I won't be good at it, but some of you are better singers. Who knows? After 5 years, somebody comes to satsang. It may only be Ram Katha. Or half Ram Katha, half Bible reading, Psalms.
The announcement will say, today we will cover this chapter. So,
Yeah, following this Bible reading plan, so we can have a multi-religion, multi-traditional reading plan. This much Gita, this much Ramayana, this much Bible, this much. I missed it. From the Psalms.
No, I just actually I was just coincidentally. Just coincidentally, I came across the Gospel of Saint Thomas,
Yeah.
and actually, it's not a saint. Gospel of Thomas. I understand it's. I know very little about the Bible, so I'm not qualified to talk about it. But I understand that it's not part of the Bible,
Right.
but these were a separate set of writings,
Yes.
which were discovered dated back to around 60 AD. And the thing is that it just reads like pure exploration of consciousness. So unlike the the Bible itself, which is much more what's the right word for it, phenomenal, and sort of this is purely metaphysical in terms of the the sort of the whole discovery, the oneness, being.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just thought it was really remarkable because it you
I
know you
heard of
can
this. I
understand
heard
it
of
as
the
consciousness.
Gospel of Thomas is supposed to be nice, but also the Bible itself is very much the whole message of Jesus, the whole message of the Old Testament, which Jesus is making clear to everyone in the New Testament, just like Lord Krishna made clear in the Gita, the whole message of the Upanishad is that within you is God's presence. The kingdom of heaven is within you, the light of Holy Spirit is within you, and everywhere, if you really read the Bible, you will see that all that is shared especially by Jesus' mouth, is just to point us to that. Just to point us to that. And I don't feel like if you follow, for example, the Sermon on the Mount, then it may seem like, but it's very phenomenal, it's very worldly. You see, but I don't feel like without that, without those pointing, without that love, without that devotion, without that faith, it's not possible at all to come to God's presence, to God's life. So it all is very beautiful in that way. So before, I was saying that before understanding Christianity to the little bit of extent that I do now, I used to feel also that it's about worldly things and things like that. It's not, but it's very, very direct at times and very deep and beautiful.
Religion is mostly about being a good Christian. That's the way that is.
Yeah.
The way that is interpreted. At least back home, it is about being a good Christian, about being a good person, following the lessons.
It becomes like that. All religions, like people who read the Ramayana, people who read the Gita, will also get messages of how to be a better person in society, how to be a good person. But really, that is like some teacher used to say that sometimes we get very worried about the skin of the banana and we forget there's a banana inside. But a banana also cannot exist without the skin. So it's very important. Both these things go hand in hand. You cannot be proud and arrogant and terrible and cheating everyone in every day and lying everywhere and then saying, I want to just inquire and come to God's presence. That just won't happen. So the thing is that even God's presence has been made into like almost a phenomenal endeavor, like a scientific endeavor, which it isn't really. It's purely an endeavor of faith. Even to inquire properly, if your mind is full of pride and trouble, then it won't let you sit in peace in the inquiry. It's just not possible. So, in the pathway to God, everything gets cleaned up. Okay? So suppose that you're doing inquiry every day, and that's all you do, and that's fine. That's completely fine. But in the process, your pride will fall off, your faith will deepen, you see? Your love will grow, you will find yourself much more kind and compassionate. Just with doing the inquiry, like proper inquiry. Or as you follow the prayer, dive deeper within yourself in devotion and humility and faith and love and devotion, then your eyes, your inner insight will become so clean. Otherwise, if you're full of grasping in your nature, your inner insight won't open up. So both things are not different from each other in actuality. All paths will lead to the same. Because where does goodness, how do we know that to tell the truth is better than to lie? All of these things universally come from where? Like how does even a child know that to be kind is better than to be unkind? Although they do many unkind things, but they know somewhere that they're making a mistake. So where does all of that come from? It's from the same presence. So you see, so God's light, God's presence also is the light bearer of how to live in the world. You try coming to satsang after you've been angry or rude or bad or unkind. You see, it'll take you much more to settle into satsang, even the satsang environment. You see, and on that day, you'll feel much more difficult to become a part of than if you've just followed and been kind and loving and compassionate and truthful. So some of these things we just naturally know.
To be happy. Why do we want to be happy? We are not taught.
Correct. Exactly. Why does everyone universally want to be happy? Where does this universality come from? Independent of tradition, independent of culture, independent of anything, where we are. So everything that has the hand of the Holy Spirit, like it's impossible for a human, if they spend every minute of their life on this, to make this. It's impossible. No? So it has to be guided by the Spirit. It has to be something takes you over. Yeah? Like when I mean, not a comparison at all, but I remember when the prayer of the beggar servant came from here, it just sprouted out from my heart. It was not, nothing was being thought about or censored or changed or evaluated. It just, the Spirit takes a hold of you. Your Atma holds your hand literally at a point and makes you operate in this way. So when these beautiful things come, then it is the hand of the Atma, it is the hand of the Holy Spirit that guides the instrument to write such beautiful things. And that is why we can trust scripture like the Gita or the Bible or any of this, because it is come from the Atma. Who were the scribes of the Bible? They were those who could hear, they could hear the same as the scribes of the Vedas. Who were the rishis? They were the one that could hear, but hear what? See, Shruti, when it said that it is written by Shruti. So they could hear, and then initially in India, then they would spread it orally, verbally. Then writing instruments, all this was created. So then that oral tradition got written down. So that became the Vedas. At the end of the Vedas, then the Anta, no, the end of the Vedas, used to have these smaller books called the Upanishads. You see? So that is why it is called, the Upanishads are called the Vedanta at the end of the Vedas. You see? So those Upanishads then also were heard by the rishis, and it came like that. But then, just like the Torah, there's so much to follow in the Upanishads that it became very difficult to follow. So God in His mercy gave us the Gita so that we can follow what is written in the Upanishads. Same thing happened with the Jewish tradition, the Torah, and there's so many things to follow that Jesus came and said it very simply, everything. But fundamentally, love God with all your might and do the same with your neighbor. Whether it is love, whether it is insight, whether it is servitude, as long as it is offered to God, we are on the right track. So that also answers the question in terms of, because there's so much beauty, so much beautiful pathways to God's light. And what should we do? Should we read the Bible now? Should we read the Ramcharitmanas? Should we read the Bhagavatam? Should we read the Gita? Should we read the Upanishads? Even in this conversation, so many things are mentioned. And so many sages have then written their own commentaries on variations on everything. So then what should we do? What you should do is what feels right in your heart. You see, like you read a page or you read a few words and something will start opening up within you. It will start opening up inside you. And if that happens, then we must dive deeper in. Besides that, you have the teacher to tell you what to do. So it's not linear in the sense that everything like this brings you to God's presence. Many times God's presence itself brings you many of these things. Because we cannot fathom the way God works. You stay with Him, then you resonate also more with holy things. If you're resonating with holy things, means you're with the Atma within. If you're not resonating with holy things in the world, you see, you're getting attracted to things which are just Maya, then you need to dive in more to your heart. So that compass within guides you, the Atma's presence within guides you very well. So how can I help? And preferably help with the task at hand, with the project, so to speak.
No questions?
No.
You were talking before about the right company, and I'm not sure how to formulate this, but it seems that there is a strong sensitivity here, and whenever I'm surrounded by the master or the sangha, that it does have an impact on the inner space. And I'm about to go to a place where the environment will be quite different. And I don't know, there have been some thoughts about that and asking you about that. I guess it comes now because of what you said about the right company, and sometimes I feel like I don't know how to put boundaries or how to stay. And there have been provocations in the past from some of these people where there is a lack of maturity in some of them. I don't know, maybe nothing. These thoughts are not necessary and everything's fine, but sometimes I feel like I'm not strong enough to hold my ground.
Yeah. We have to become strong in that way. So, in the same way, Tulsidas ji said that bad company can spoil, can really spoil us with this in every way. But the one who's truly firm in God's light, they then can fix the bad company also.
I'm not like that. I'm not strong enough.
So what stops you from being like that? What stops you from being like that? Is it that you want something from them, in the sense you want to be liked by them, you want their approval? What makes us not firm in God's presence? It's why do we try to fit in to that to which even we are saying that they are bad company? So why would we want to fit in?
Maybe there is no such a big interest. I feel that there actually should be more interest because it is a work environment, so I should care a little bit more about fitting in, which is not something that I have traditionally done, but I think it would behoove me to actually blend in a little bit better. So
You have to just fit in with God's light, and then if that light makes you fit into other places, then fine. If it doesn't, then fine. Why would it behoove you to fit in?
Because
So let's not even say work for a moment. Let's say if we had a group of friends which was really like bad company, all the bad habits, addictions, just no interest in God, just really bad company. Then, because they are our only friends, should we try to fit in? Suppose I had a friend group like that, and after satsang, they just come and visit me every day, and then you heard that along with them to fit in, Ananta is also doing all the bad habits that they are doing. Then what would you say?
But then it's easier in that case, because in that case, naturally you start.
Why? Because I have a beard and long hair. What is easier?
But in the case of friends, you naturally.
You're saying friends. So friends is okay. Friends, we can be ourselves no matter what. Yes.
either you are yourself, or if it becomes so different that it doesn't sustain this a
The
new
friendship
way of
doesn't
life,
sustain.
then it just it's
So
left
now,
and it's
okay, so fine. Now you're saying about work.
Yeah, it's different.
So then if you don't fit in, what will happen? As it is, AI is taking over everything.
Sorry?
As it is, AI is taking over
Exactly,
everything.
right? I
What
don't
do you
know why
want
I'm
to
so worried about. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that it's
It's
going to
the
become
fear
pretty
about-
earthly, this conversation. But yeah, it is about the economic situation, how things are going in Argentina. And
So, what do you need to live when you're living in God's light?
yeah,
What do you need? What is the economic situation that you need to take care of if you're living in God's light? Just something more is coming to say. So, I promise you that if you are in His presence, then you will not miss anything in the world. You see? And if you're not in His presence and you're the king of the world, it won't be enjoyable. You see, it may be pleasurable, but not really enjoyable. You see? So, the only switch we need to make is over there. The only switch we need to make is over there. And we've seen that when you are living in God's presence, then everything seems like heaven. It doesn't matter.
that's true. Yeah, that's true. I guess it's hard to sustain the closeness to God most of the time. It's an effort to do it
So
all
we
the
must
time.
make that effort.
Yeah.
We must make that effort. And satsang, all that is shared, the books, the reading, the singing, the prayer, the inquiry, everything is so that it becomes easier for you to stay in God's presence. So the sages have defined for us the pathways within Maya to be able to leave Maya. You see, because it seems like we live within Maya for some time. So it's as long as it seems like we live within Maya for some time, the sages have appeared seemingly within this realm of Maya, in their outer embodiments, leading us to the inner embodiment within our heart, where our true life is, where our true living resting place is. So use whatever means God makes available to you to return to His light. To use everything that you see in the world to remember God, to go back to God. If anything that you see in the world reinforces me, then leave it. And from my experience, it is not that God just leaves you. No, you can't work. You can't do anything. See, so I'm not talking about anything on the outer. Because living in God's presence, He has taught me so many things that were needed in the world, which I would never have learned otherwise. So that you just need to trust. Whatever is needed, He will give. If it is really needed, otherwise our mind is making up the need. You see? Hearing what I'm saying?
I'm hearing.
Whatever is needed, He will give. Otherwise, the mind is making up a need which is not really a need.
Yeah, exactly. Like there is this idea, I need to make a bigger effort to connect with these beings, and I feel even more alien around some of these beings than I did before. And
Yeah.
if it is God's will, or if it is the destiny that does happen, then it will be so.
It will. If it is God's will and you're following God's will. So let me repeat this part again. So it is true that every single thing that has ever happened happens in God's will. Okay? But it is also true that within God's will, we can follow or not follow God's will. You see, and this we cannot understand with the mind. I was saying to Meera the other day that it looks like he has much more faith in us than we have in him. You see? So therefore, within his broad will, he has given us this opportunity to either love or separate. Isn't it? You see? And he must have faith, otherwise nobody lets a child go like that. You see? He must have the faith that this child will ultimately pick love. You see? So whether we have faith in him or not, definitely he is faithful. He is full of faith in us. So every moment, in spite of our sheer absurd stupidity, he keeps allowing us to pick between head and heart. And does it all happen within God's will? Of course it does. But it's not linear in the way that we feel it is. Because in consciousness, which is all there is, every single possibility that can be fathomed also is. It's not limited. So you visit for yourself the possibility where you are living in God's light. And then what must happen is that for all of us in Satsang, God's will must no longer remain notional. Or it must no longer remain an inference. We're saying, oh, whatever is happening must be God's will. Why do we have to infer? We can ask Him. If we can meet God, if we can be in His presence, then He can guide us also. So we have to completely move away from just conceptual spirituality to an applied spirituality, a lived spirituality. And to live spiritually has to be lived in spirit, with spirit. So many people talk so many things about spirituality. Okay? But talking about spirituality is not spirituality. Is it? To live in spirituality is to live in spirit. So are we living in spirit? Or at least are we trying with everything that we got? Now what is missing for us? What is missing for us? Every tool is at our disposal. In the olden days, you would not have Google, you would not have access, you would go to an ashram, the teacher would make you sweep the floors for 10, 15 years till you're open enough to hear what he's saying. You see? So, but now every tool is at our disposal. And I ask any of you, you will be able to say what this one says, what this one says, what this one says, what this one says, what this one says. So every tool is available to us. Whether the teacher is modern or the sage is traditional, historic, you know what they have said. All the pointings are available to us. Now we just have to move away from our head and start living what we have learned. Our buffet is now full. of ways to God. Now we just have to eat. But if you keep filling the buffet and don't eat, we keep hearing about emptiness and openness, but we don't become open and empty. We keep hearing about love and devotion, faith, humility, but we don't become loving, devotional, faithful, empty, humble. So for more than a year I've been ranting about this lip service spirituality. So I'm not saying for you, not saying you're doing, I'm just saying generally all of us are still not fully following, and including this one where I become conceptual so often, I become foolish and go with my own terms so often. So all of us need to apply. Doesn't matter what the situation is.
Grasping would be like the buffet, only just picking up.
Building the spiritual encyclopedia.
Just keep on taking some more things and more things, and not really.
But the application of it. What are the symptoms of that? When we have learned but we are not applying. The number one symptom of that is that we think the problem is still outside. The problem is in the world, the problem is in my bank account, the problem is in my relationship, the problem is in my body, the problem is in my intellect, whatever. Okay, intellect at least. Definitely there's a problem, but because our intellect is full of judgment and foolishness. But everything is about what's happening inside of us. And at the root of all of that is that very primal choice between head and heart. Primal choice between knowing for ourselves and following God. Loving the me or loving God. Pride in ourselves or faith in God. Whichever way you look at this choice, which is actually beyond words. Whichever way you look at this choice, moment to moment we are in this. And whichever we get accustomed to, that starts to seem like home. So if you're living in the mind, then that seems normal. And it seems like we need some relief from time to time by coming to Satsang. But that seems like home. If you get used to living in the presence, then touching the mind will seem like trouble. It will seem like you left your home. It will seem like you are disconnected in your heart. So stay at home. Let the images change. If you can just let the images change, it makes it very simple. How to manage the world, how to manage our life? Let the images change. You don't grasp or you don't push. Let them change. What is happening to you? So if the image changes from this environment to conference, to friends, to whatever, let the images change. What is happening to you? You're holding on to your heart. You're holding on to your insight. You're holding on to your love. You're holding on to His presence. Yes.
Because it's like we wanna. It's just so silly because it's.
Because? Where's the mic? They still need it for Zoom.
So silly because it's like we wanna stay chained. So I
We
was
want
just,
to stay
I was just, yeah, I was just looking at that. It's like we picked up these notions of how things are supposed to be, or
Yeah.
how the personality is hindering something, or how, and we can be free every moment, and it was just. And we choose to be bound, and it's just so stupid because we have the chance to be free every second.
Yeah.
It's just that these things, because they have been there for so long, they seem true, but
Yeah. So, whatever we take ourselves to be, so suppose this body is almost 6 feet. Out of that, the troublemaking part is just a few inches. Is it? It's, how many? 3-4 inches. Now, without this, where is the trouble in the 6 feet? Huh? See, so it's not that everything wants us bound. It's not that everything wants us to be caught up in this. It's just an aspect of our existence, an aspect of our being, which is not physically here, but just to explain. Now, without this be chain, don't refer to anything here. Be in chains. Okay. We are obsessed with this aspect of our being. That is the illness. That is the illness what satsang is a rehab for, is the addiction to this small aspect. Even if you consider yourself the body, which you're not. Is anything else resisting anything? Are your hands like resistant to change? Change is happening, but your hands are like, stop. No? No. You see? They're not doing. Just your head is resistant to change. So that classical idea of from head to heart is all this. And you have so many tools. If anyone just reads this book, doesn't do anything else, they'll come to God with full integrity and faith. If anyone reads the Ashtavakra, anyone reads the Bible, anyone reads the Gita, anyone does the inquiry, anyone remains open and empty, anyone prays, anyone just loves God with full-heartedly, come to God. God will come to them. God is already with them, but the presence will become palpable for them. So all the tools are there for you. Any good satsang you go to, it doesn't have to be this one. Any satsang can lead you to God. Everything is there, but we have to just follow. Actually, just give up one thing, you'll come to God. Huh? What is that one thing? I've said it often. Right. Just give up pride. Huh? Don't even have to do anything. Just don't be proud. See? What is the most lethal form of pride? Knowledge. That I know. Not knowledge itself, but the knowledge that I know. See? There's nothing that blocks us in life more than I know. See? I know. So that's what innocence is about. Just become innocent. Then something is coming. I don't know whether it's good for me, bad for me. Something is going. I don't know what it means. But then to presume that we know is false pride, because we can never know. We can never know. Only God knows. And if you truly want to follow God, then just allow Him to guide your every step. You don't know. Why is God guiding you like this? No?
I was just remembering, I told Damu just now that having said all this and with all the recent worry that there's been about work and stuff, the biggest opportunities that I got in the work realm were when I was just sitting here in front of you doing nothing but just listening to you.
So,
and that goes so against everything that I've done before Satsang, because it was such like an effortful kind of background that I had, and those ideas about how it's supposed to be somehow still have some existence there. So even though I have proof that it's not true, something still feels there, or thinks that it should be there.
This is is coming again and again to say today that God is so faithful. He keeps giving us everything that we need. We still don't turn to Him fully, and He still keeps giving us everything we need because He is faithful. He feels like He has faith in us. One day they will come. They are turning, they are learning, they will come. So He's so humble, in the sense that it may not sound like it when we read a scripture or something like that. But if I was the creator of this entire universe and my own children were forgetting me, I would not be like, okay, play, it's okay, come. I'll be like, but God is humble, so He doesn't force it. He doesn't force the issue. But it is not possible for us to live as if we are in His presence without being in His presence. That in His kindness He is not designed for us. Otherwise we'll always forget our true home. So as humble and faithful as He may be, He has not made it such that it feels like we are in His presence actually in His absence. When we are blocking ourselves with our pride, with our ego, with our lies, with our ambition, with our putting our brothers and sisters down, with us wanting to win, which is to value this lump of flesh more than the lumps of flesh around you, which actually is a nonsensical idea. This whole culture of winning and being first and all of that is very ludicrous actually. See, but we are fed these things since we were children, like you were saying, that we are taught, no, to do like that, then you'll succeed. Do like this, you'll succeed. Go network. See, what is network? What is network? Have you contemplated this? Network is basically to try and fake friendship. You just go, actually you want business from them, but you're faking being friendly with them and just talking. You're talking because your intention actually is selfish. Maybe I'm being too skeptical.
That's how the world works to a large extent.
But who is going to change that? If not God's children, if not us, then who is going to change it? Is there any group besides sanghas that you know that you feel are capable enough of changing this? Any group of humans who are not in like sanghas, in spiritual sanghas, that you know are not are capable enough of changing this? Because the change has to come from within. So when these kind of questions come, my question is really literally that rhetorical thing. If not us, then who? Who is going to change it? This is how the world works. But then if change is going to come, or something has to be, can be shown to the world that we don't have to live like that, then who is responsible for that? If not those who are in satsang like this. So don't underestimate God's light which is shining in your heart. It may change, in your heart may change the whole universe. Remember that in His light. So if the world is like that, if the world is selfish and obsessed with winning and false, feigning friendship and feigning love and wanting something in return for everything, and it has to, the truth of it is different, the reality of it is different, whose life has to be an example of that? Ours. Isn't it? Because if those who have found the way to God, found the right path, then say, but everybody else is doing that, so I also have to. Then there is no point. So everyone is afflicted by Maya, no doubt about that. But those who are coming closer to the escape, they cannot jump back into Maya because everybody else is caught up in Maya. Their bodies may still participate in it, but inwardly they can belong to God. Chinmay is showing us how to do that. Chinmay is demoing how to do that. Her body is participating, but inwardly she is with God. No, you can. It's a good demonstration in the sense that we can continue to be in work, our bodies can participate in the work, but as long as your heart belongs to God, you'll be fine.
Today I got my laptop because there was one sheet which had to be completed by end of day. Somehow I'm like, don't even feel like doing because of being in satsang, like I'm listening to you. Yeah. But Father, one question.
You can allow it to.
The thing is that there are a lot of times when I feel that it's quite effortless to do the inquiry or prayer or to listen to a satsang. Of late, last couple of days I've been experiencing that it's pretty like I'm forcing myself, like
Yeah.
basically to inquire or to pray or to even listen to satsang. So at such times, I don't know, like what should I mean, of course, you will suggest us to keep at it, but
Yeah.
it's
So
really
those are the times that are dangerous, in the sense that when it is at ease, when God's presence is so gently present without even needing any sort of practice, any sadhana, nothing, then we just be grateful to Him. And we say, so merciful you are, so graceful you are that you are gifting me this presence, and I have been just, caught up in my own stuff. That the other day it happened like that. And I was just involved in some stuff, I don't know what. And I was just sitting, and His presence was so strong. So I just turned to Him and said, How are you so loving? How can you be so loving that I have been for the last 10-15 minutes caught up in some, I don't know what, and you just showed me that you're still here. How is it like that? So those times, of course, we are blessed and we are graced by His presence, and we must be grateful for that. We must not ever feel that we are entitled to that. So gratitude is very beautiful for that. But when it seems like it's just, it's like, something just blocks. Like she was telling me about this child who just, in spite of understanding everything in satsang, hearing everything in satsang, she just like made a block for herself. She's just like, no, it's not happening right now. I'm fine. I don't need to do this. Somebody, comes to her. But this is the way Maya has worked for so many children who have come to me also for so many years. You've probably seen so many of them come and go, where they seem to be so fully into it, and one day just some trick of Maya happened, just like the Narad story, and so many stories like that, just like that. Something happened, and it just seemed like, first it's like, I'm going to balance it out a bit more. Then it becomes like, okay, I'll go once a month, and go like, okay, I'll watch online. Then it becomes like, okay, I don't know whether he is good anyway. I know what he's sharing. I think I'll just find another path. Then the other path has nothing to do with God, not spiritually, but because we don't recognize that in the world, what could the mind be most scared of, or Maya be most wary of? What would it be? That which is talking about being in God's presence. So satsang, teacher, sangha, all of that. You see? So it is going to feed you things. You see? The work, this, that, whatever. You see? You say that is priority. You see? And actually what is being deprioritized is God. You see? This. It just sometimes comes like that, sometimes it just creeps up on us. So as we are becoming more and more soft inside, we start to notice more and more of these things. So you notice that mind attacks have various forms. They're not always like that. Sometimes they are very friendly also. Today you don't pray, it's okay, need a break. Today no inquiry. You know who you are.
But Father, at such times, really, I feel that it's a very helpless situation, at such time, because
of course.
it doesn't feel good to be in a space where you are unable to.
That's very good. No?
It's really
At least as long as it doesn't feel good to us, at least we are safe.
yeah. I mean,
Because when that starts feeling good to us, that is when
it's
we are
not
in
really-
trouble.
It's like a
very
punishment,
good.
literally, like nightmare to experience that.
But when defiance of God or not being in His presence and not being subservient to His will and not offering our heart completely to Him, that starts feeling good, that is when we get into trouble. As long as we recognize something within us calling us back, you see, that actually is a very auspicious medicine, although it may not feel good, because imagine if you stayed away from God and that felt good, you see, then that would really take us away, isn't it? Then that would be much more compelling, you see. It can be, yeah. Exactly. So we start to notice all these various forms of the mind attacks. Sometimes like this, sometimes stick, sometimes carrot. It tries to pull you any way out of God's life. So just keep coming to satsang, keep following, keep doing your prayer as much as you can.
Even if it feels forceful, I should do it.
Yes. Even more, no? Because like I said that if you don't want to pray, then you must pray more. If you don't want to inquire, you must inquire more. Because then the mind at least will try to find some new tactic. Because otherwise we keep falling for the same old tricks of the mind. So if it says, no, today you do like this, and you say, okay, I'm going to chant one more mala. You see, then it'll have to come up with something else. You'll be a bit scared to use that ploy. So like that. That is the warrior way of sadhana. Just don't fall for these mind tricks. It says, but you already know who you are. Why you need to inquire? Then you inquire for 1 hour. Keep quiet, close your eyes, and sit in inquiry for 1 hour. You can do it. Initially it can seem like we're just following this mind's ranting, but no, it has actually no power. Then you see that the gravitational pull of this Maya, this world, this mind, will not really be able to stop you. Then the Atma takes over. See? And when the Atma takes over, then blessings and blessings every day, miracles and miracles every day, spiritual knowledge is coming from everywhere, full of love and light. You just enjoying it so much. Then you feel that not from a sense of complacency, but a sense of just looking forward to the adventure of every day. Because you wake up in the morning and you don't know what new pathway to God will be shown, what new way of loving God will show up, what insight about our reality becomes more and more apparent. So, but the mind wants us to indulge in that poisonous substance of me. Always me. Just put the me anywhere. Just put it, insert it somewhere. Yeah? So many children come into such beautiful love, such beautiful light. Clearly, Holy Spirit has taken a hold of them. You see? But from time to time, keep falling for the same, but what about me? See? What am I getting in this? What about me? So, just those difficult times, we have to stay strong. I told you, sometimes I tell you about my experiences also in terms of if I feel stuck. I woke up one morning and I was feeling disconnected. I didn't even feel like praying, and it really was feeling that strong that I didn't want to just leave my bed. I didn't want to sit up and do my prayer, do my ADS. I didn't want to do any of that. But I was like, I'm not leaving God. So try it. Put that. Going. Right. So then we become stubborn for God because we start feeling restless without Him. So then I told you that it was one of the Srimad Ramayan songs which this I just put it on. You'll notice like that. So don't worry. And that. So if I'd gone with that impulse, you see, like the impulse wants to take away the day from you, from God. It wants to set the theme for the day in the morning and just like put the winning flag, you see, and this day belongs to Maya. This day belongs to me. So don't fall for that. You see. And success and failure is not up to us. But at least if we know in our heart we tried, it's okay. It's not necessary. It could be that I played the bhajan also, but still felt like disconnected. Something else also disconnected. But at least if when sleep was coming at night, I said, okay, I tried honestly to myself, you see, and I didn't give in to this. Oh. Anybody who's having it really easy, it doesn't work like that. No? Otherwise, the great sage like Kabir would not have said, Maya is the Mahatagini, the greatest con artist. Because even for the greatest sages, they notice for themselves. You see how she can play.
It also Kumar said, right? And Papa Ramdas told him chant the name 24 hours. He went to the cave and he how
Tell us the whole thing.
how he described his
From the beginning,
experience.
so everyone can.
Okay, so
Yogi ji said.
when Papa Ramdas told Yogi ji to chant the name 24 hours, all day, every day, so he went to the cave and he started chanting. And we all know that what happened after 7 days. But how he described it to Mahadev Ji, he said that not that this beggar could do it, this beggar was trying and trying and trying with all this dramatic gestures to keep telling, he was trying and trying and trying. And then suddenly he says, Devki, this trying is tapas.
Yeah, exactly.
He's trying.
Is the tapas, is the sadhana. And literally feels like heat. It just feels difficult. Because it's like within the like what the Bible and Christians say, that this is the inner wrestling match. Huh? Warfare, spiritual warfare. Internal, Mahabharata is internal.
You know, Father, every moment it just says that the moon is at any full devotion to the highest that they want.
After Jyoti. After you, after Jyoti.
It's the highest thing that they really asked was that can I have devotion to you, to sweet, can you give me devotion to you? And all the sages and everything they keep saying.
कर कृपा तेरे गुण गावा कर कृपा तेरे गुण गावा. Such a beautiful thing to ask, no? कर कृपा तेरे गुण गावा, which means that have mercy on me that I can sing your praises.
Guruji, you spoke about trying and trying. So there, like morning when I wake up, then I do this chanting with that mala. So sometimes when it's very dry, it feels like इस तरह माला खत्म हो जाए.
Ah,
So,
yeah, I've seen that. I know.
that is not trying, right? That is still fake, right? I mean,
Still better than not doing it. There are points here also where I could be like midway, then I take a peek, and you know, then you speed up. Yeah, I do all this stuff.
so that is not trying exactly,
Yeah, but
right?
the mind wants you what? It wants you to give up. It wants you
Yeah.
to say, every time you take God's name is good. You see? It may not be like the best is if you offer your entire being to Him and say, God, help me. You see, like that. But even if you say God, you see, it's still better than not remembering.
Yeah, the question that I had was like since morning, I mean, I could feel energy. I mean, I am offered a new work, which is very exciting. So that energy has changed. I mean, I'm not liking that energy. I mean, even though the work is good, I'm very excited. I want to deliver it, but that energy is not what you feel when you're in the presence.
Yeah.
So
Keep
I
praying,
want
and
that energy, but I mean, I'm not comfortable with that.
you
And
want to have that excitement.
yeah, but I'm not feeling good about it also. So something amiss is there.
You know what's at the tail of most of these? Yeah. Like this worldly excitement, worldly desire, worldly achievement, worldly ambition. Maybe.
Right.
What's at the tail of it? The tail at the end of this animal is usually full of trouble. So stay with God and let the work happen. And doesn't mean that you won't have like satisfaction, or you will do the work robotically, or you won't feel job satisfaction or anything like that. That can all come within God's presence. All good things can happen. You see? But when you activate yourself into this sort of excited thing, you see, whatever enthusiasm is needed, God will provide. You see? But sometimes it's like this mental charge,
Yes,
you
yes,
see, which
exactly.
feel like a rush, no?
Yes, yes, yes.
Like that. But then that has a down also.
So I should let that go.
Like, are these energy drinks good for you?
No, yeah.
But why? They provide, it's got what, 2 cups of caffeine, or I don't know, equivalent, that much, they say, no? I don't know, but they say as much caffeine as 2 cups of coffee, plus as much sugar as like 2 or 3 Coca-Colas, plus I don't know what like that. It makes you feel good, so why not?
Then you come down.
Come down, or you get addicted to it, or yeah, these kind of things.
Yeah, when you get addicted to it, you just go with it.
Yeah. So now you're liking this energy. Then when the buzz starts to fall, then you're like, okay, what else? What else? What else? You know, like that. You've seen some people like that at work.
Right.
They can't sit still. They can't be with themselves. See? If you look around at the world, actually, very few can just sit by themselves. See? Because they need the rush to come from somewhere. So don't fall into any of that. Enjoy things. Work, you must enjoy. There's no problem in work. But the enjoyment has to come from your heart, from within. If it feels like from your heart doesn't want to move in that direction, then just follow your heart. Don't worry.
I have not tried this way. I never observed it, but this is the first time I'm observing this
Yeah.
way.
The more you stay within, the more we observe these, what seem to be very subtle things in the world. We become more and more observant to that.
Just on the earlier conversation, Father, I think related to our question of company, I met some of the people that you meet in the EO circles, and they were making snarky comments about me coming here. I don't try to like shy away from owning it. It's not even a flutter of thought. So that's not the topic. But this guy Yash, that he had a debate with you or whatever some time ago. So he's like, so kyun jata hai? Why do you go there like 3 days a week? So I said, you go to the gym regularly, right? How many days a week do you go? In fact, he complains when if he misses one day of the gym. So I was like, you're so diligent about your gym. What do you go for? He's like, I have to stay fit, and so I go to keep my mind, body, and spirit fit. Is there a problem? And he was just like silent for some time. I think he never thought about it. But to your point, like, when you go to the gym and you see the amount of effort people are putting in to put on another 10 kg load, and there's screaming going on, and the coach is like pushing them. And I've actually of late taken inspiration from that. I also go to the gym, but inspiration in the sense that initially I think I used to hide from suffering. Hide in the sense that, when suffering arises, there's, okay, let me put on my defense gear, okay, open, empty, all that jazz. Now it's like switch to, like bring it on, but not in a egotistical way. It's like, just like I'm putting that extra load on, it's like just my story that in the gym, if I put on 10 kgs more, it's a positive story, even though the muscles are hurting, screaming, whatever. Here it was like this fear kind of response, and it's really making a difference to not. I think I mentioned to you last time. It's like a different kind of like stable, calm courage, for lack of a better description. But yeah, the humility radar is always on. So
It's very
yeah,
it's really
and I see that with Advaita also. She was saying, initially she used to be shy in her dorm. She'll be caught listening to your YouTube satsang, and is like, who's this bearded man, and what are you doing? And she started owning it, and now a couple of her friends have started watching your satsang, and they want to come here and take a shot at it. But like, to her point about company and friends and influences, I've also struggled through a lot of that. Where I am right now, and you can chop me, I'm just telling you where I am right now. It's just, you had us work on the heart temple movement.
Yeah.
Like, my natural experience now has become, it's okay to take the temple to the bar also. Not again in an egotistical way. Because people are showing up to satsang, and I'm meeting them in bars. So, and I'm not drinking or anything. I'm hanging out because I do enjoy their company. They are good people, and just like I found you, because I stumbled Tina in a place where people were drinking, and otherwise I wouldn't have been here. So. So far, that's what is happening, and initially there was a struggle that I should completely cut away, but my narrative right now is, these are good people, and it's okay, as long as I am doing my work and I'm hitting the spiritual gym in a humble way and coming to you. That's kind of the experience.
That's good. We had a nice conversation actually. Yash and I, or the nature of knowledge, and in Greece that time when we had gone. Grace lights up our path. That like, it's so beautiful how it works, like you said, in the most unexpected ways, and for most of us here, like it's so apparent that this meeting had to be, because in the terms of the world it can seem like, oh, if that hadn't happened, then we wouldn't have come to satsang, or we would never have met, or whatever. But grace creates these opportunities, like just like the right book shows up, the right teacher shows up, everything. Exactly. Yeah. Our range becomes just like the world around us is like very sweet, very innocent, or at worst just being silly. But that whole notion of anyone being malintentioned, it just gets stripped away in some way, because we notice that at worst they're just following what their head is telling them, and we also end up doing that often. It's fine. And for me, I just feel that here is a brother, here is a sister who is not turning towards God, and probably is going to, if they keep going like that, and the prayer of course is that hopefully they change. So what is it that I can do to help them in whatever way to recognize the zombiness of this life? So of course it's very difficult conversations to have in social environments, in social settings, but naturally the inclination just becomes, how can I help? How can I help? So if somebody comes home and visits, I hardly go anywhere, but someone comes and visits or something like that, then I keep listening, and maybe sometimes I just knock a little bit to see if there's any. Just like a very dear friend came home the other day, but he had a very strong position about being an atheist. That because I'm an atheist, because I have, and all my friends are now similar to my age, which are 50 and above, so they're very deeply attached to having been right. You see, when you're younger, when you're in your early 20s, then you feel like, okay, I have another 50 years in front of me, so then we are still open to exploring. Once we feel that so much of our life is gone, and somebody tries to introduce a new way, especially questioning the very strata of our thought system, then at a certain age you don't want to hear that you've been wrong for 50 years. You're okay, probably younger, but so it's very difficult to make people open unless it is coming from within. So, but whatever, we do our bit, we try a little bit and see what happens. Nothing. Little bit. It just, somewhere the heart guides you, that how much to push or not. But the best thing is that we can always pray. Even then, even more than anything we could say to them, we can just pray for them also. The poison itself seems natural, no? Then how will somebody want the antidote? The poison itself seems the worthy way of life.
Father, I've asked you this many times, and this is that heart-mind question, when to know which is which. Of late, one observation, I almost feel like a fool, but that's why I'm asking you whether that intuition is in the right direction. It seems like whenever the voice is being heard, which used to confuse me, is this the heart or is it the mind? It's just seeming more and more that when the voice is being heard, it is the mind. The heart just knows. It's usually not giving a speech or justification or pros and cons or any of that. Or even like self-righteousness, oh, this is the right path. Does that feel right?
It's good, it's very good. For most, actually, we'll have to go like that. That just whatever thoughts, whatever concepts, whatever notions, we discard and remain with the silence, with the guidance from, which is in the form of silence. And then, without leaving that, something may unfold where at some point you may be able to say that I turned to God and I said this and He said that, is it like that? But we don't have to rush into any of that, because we never want to get our imagination involved in any of these things, because the mind can very easily use that to manipulate us. So just settle deeply into the silence of the heart. In fact, even when the communication happens, it is the silence of the heart is not disturbed. That's the important thing.
All this while I was formulating this question, I was listening, but still, it's like Satsang started Ramcharitmanas and the practices you give, inquiry, chanting, prayer, all of these. I mean, the path we're going on, and how what we're relying on for satisfaction, pleasure is nothing material. Chanting, it's like it seems so absurd. How is this happening? And if these things can be fulfilling, then it's seeming like I'm not something material.
Yeah.
What is it? What is deriving
exactly
some satisfaction out of it?
Yeah.
And it,
Very good.
I don't know.
Very like when we start deriving that different type of satisfaction, the different type of fulfillment we feel within when we come closer to God in whatever way. Very good.
What is it?
What is it? What is what? You're right that if you were material, then your satisfaction could only come from material things. So your conclusion is right. That how is it possible that so much joy, like here at least I have to report that so much love, so much joy, so much peace can come from things like remembering a name, from praying, from inquiring into the true nature of who I am, into the nature of the presence that lives within myself. How can so much joy and love come? If I was a material object, then it could not be. So I must be something else. Right? And what is that? We know. We know. The self. You are the self. And you are the light of the Atma within. And you are a devotee of that Atma within. All of this is you. In your outermost realm, just like the outermost surface of the ocean, is the wave called this body. But all the layers of the ocean and everything is the rest of your being. And the very center, the surface of the ocean is your Atma, God's presence. And the space in which it rests is the Nirguna self. So you are not a material object. Otherwise, spirituality would be the biggest waste of time. Materiality, which is the way of the world, would be the right thing if you were material. But why do sages say that nothing else has given them that much joy? What did they do? Some sages just said the name of the Lord. They say that पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो, Meera Ma said. What is there? There's 2 syllables. How is she comparing it to the greatest jewel that anyone can find? And because like this, it no longer remains conceptual, it starts to become our lived experience. Then our faith develops and deepens like this. We start to trust it more. As long as it remains just conceptual, then it can be shaken easily, just like a belief. Like if you came and you said you had a belief, but you had a strong belief that Tokyo is the capital of China. You had heard it from 100 people. But then you come to some place like a proper classroom and somebody really intelligent that you know, they tell you, no, you're mistaken. Tokyo is not the capital of China, Tokyo is the capital of Japan. Then you can switch that belief. But if in that Tokyo being the capital of China, your heart felt alive, you felt love, peace and joy, then you recognize that it is not a concept anymore that you're meeting. And of course, I'm no longer talking about Tokyo now. So when you come to that which points you to God, when you come to something which just open your heart, it doesn't remain conceptual anymore. And then that becomes such a beautiful thing because that heart guides you about everything. So just like what he was saying, it is not important where you're going or not going. It is about what your heart is saying about it. And if it is fine, it is good. So we can be moved by that. So initially it can feel like people say, no, that, oh, this feeling of joy comes, so let me just follow my joy. But that's also like a trap. So don't get into following a feeling. Like follow that which is the source of that. What can happen otherwise is that we get used to the sweetness of the presence, and Maya is the greatest con artist in this way, that we start to think the sweetness is the presence. So if you're praying and the sweetness doesn't come, then you feel that I'm not praying well. If you pray and the love that you felt yesterday doesn't come, you feel I'm not praying well. This is the next time you are like, oh, today I'm going to go get that love, get that joy. So much doership has come, and an attachment to very subtle phenomena can come. Is it? Yes. Just the one who is providing all of this, stay with that. Stay with focus to that one. Have the attitude that whatever you give me is good. Whatever you're giving me is good. I am here for you. Is it?
But Father, it seems like the one experiencing that emotion or the lack of it, that satisfaction, it has a preference, no? It prefers to be in this state. It's not unaffected.
It is unaffected, but unaffected in not the way that we think of in the human condition. Like we say that we have a preference only if we are affected in some way. Like if you are a concerned party, then like that. But for God, it's not like that. Nothing we do can affect or not affect Him. Is it? Let's look at it another way. What's a good way to say it? See, once your children are grown up, once you're like 50, 60, 70, children are grown up and things like that, then really they're living their life, whatever they're doing, it doesn't really affect you in that way, because everybody seems to have independent lives. But as a parent, you still want them to be on the right path, to do what is good for them, to follow, like that. So God's love is not conditional upon it affecting Him in some way. It is just His love for us, His caring for us, and concern for us. Because there is nothing that has ever made a dent on awareness. No Maya, no matter how strong it is, can make a scratch on awareness. So Brahman, that which you really are, the absolute reality of ourselves, is not affected. But the strange thing is that in this play, it is I which is on all sides. That side also me, this side also me, in the middle also me. Isn't it?
Just got reminded of what you said, where awareness cannot be affected. I think the thing that flipped about 2 months ago from a courage standpoint is, I don't know if you've seen this photograph of this Vietnamese Buddhist monk who's sitting and he's on fire for peace.
You sent me, somebody sent me.
Yeah, and it's from the early 60s. I'd seen this photo 20 years ago, and I think anybody who sees it is shocked at some level. But I guess I never understood it the way I did 2 months ago, which was, A, he's sitting for peace. B, his body is ablaze and he doesn't move. And I think 20 years ago when I saw that picture, when you see somebody burning, it's like, oh, it must be really painful. But when I saw it again 2 months ago, I was reading an article, I just put a match on my skin.
Okay, now don't try this stuff at home, kids.
No, just near it, right? To just get a sense of how painful is a tiny match. And the hand just
Yeah.
moved away, right? And I was like, wow, this guy is sitting ablaze and he's completely unaffected. So clearly there's something else going on over here. And that has given, like I have now next to your painting, I put a small photo of this guy. Because every time my spiral can start, I just look at you and I look at him. And the question that pops up is my suffering even 5% of this man's? For me, I use the word, why are you being a crybaby? If he can deal with that, you can definitely deal with this kind of thing. So really, really helped in that, yeah.
Very good. Very good. Some hands.
Is intuitive knowledge, is it similar to the knowledge we get from pure perception? Is it similar in nature? Or are they the same thing?
When we remain in pure perception,
Yes. When we remain in
then
the knowledge of knowing.
Yes, that intuitive insight knows everything because nobody feels lost. See? The mind's idea is that we will feel lost without it. But when we remain empty of the mind and the no mind, we feel very at home actually. We feel at home because everything that needs to be known is known in our heart. And again, what needs to be expressed on the surface, that is up to the grace of the Atma within. But the Atma's intelligence is fully with us. It's like we cannot make a distinction between its presence, its love, its intelligence, its restful nature. It's just a byproduct of it. It's natural, not even byproduct, it's like inherent in it. See? So its insight is inherent in that. Then what happens is that it sends these, like a metaphor I'm using, is like from the vastness of the Supreme Intelligence, these bubbles come. Because the infrastructure that we have cannot handle more than bubbles. So it just comes in the form of So then those bubbles got, in the ancient times, got codified into scripture, into the what we call the Shruti, and all these beautiful scriptures, all came from there. So, like we said at the beginning of Satsang, no human can write something like this, but from there it can come. So, how much, whether that set of bubbles becomes a stream, whether it becomes a flowing Ganga, it just depends on how open we are and how empty we are of our knowledge. And the more empty we are, the more this flow will deepen. So, the supremeness, the supreme nature of that intelligence is always present. But what it graces us with in the worldly play also depends on whether we make ourselves fully reliant on that, or we still have some pride of self-knowledge or pride of knowing something. So this, what we call intuition, like I had an intuition like that when we say, that I had an intuition that God is so faithful, like that, even like that. It's just something which your heart speaks to you, like a sprouting, seedling of knowledge or something. It feels like that. It's very difficult to put in words, so I have to find these metaphors to try and explain it. All of us have experienced it. Yes. Without it, it would feel like a very dark, scary place to go within. If you are not reassured with the love and knowledge which God Himself is, His presence Himself is, then it would seem like visiting some dark space. But it's not like that. Suppose you went to a room and you didn't know anything about anything, then it would be scary, no? Is it? And that is the mind's version of what going within feels like, but it doesn't feel like that at all. It just feels like I don't feel lost. I feel so reassured and present. So all of these things, like she was also saying, are pointing us to something, are pointing us to our nature being not this object, not objective. It's very beautiful, actually. Very beautiful. Very touched to hear a report like that where we say, why am I getting satisfaction, joy, peace, love out of praying to God? If I was an object, like if I was a robot with some AI stuff, then I would not. So like this little intuition comes. Intuition comes which reassures us on the path. This keeps us reassured whenever we start to get a bit trouble. Then some grace knows how to reassure us. Well, it gives us whatever we can handle at that point of time. Handle means handle in humility. Because things will come through you, your mind will say, wow, you're fantastic now. You've become too good. So, and if you get attached to that kind of stuff, then the flow can get restricted. Then growth doesn't happen, change doesn't happen. You don't flower so much. You stop yourself.
Sheer helplessness that it's not a positional helplessness where the mind can take a position that this is not for you, you cannot do this. So there are times, but I can sense the flavor of the mind there.
Yes,
But
also one counter question to the mind is then what is option 2?
Yes, but I was coming to this further. But these days, the helplessness that I experience is from the heart. I feel because I know that this I cannot do. Like there are times when I really
that way. Yes.
So the distinction between
Very good.
This helplessness coming from the mind.
Yeah, we should talk about both of them because the first is this idea which the mind will throw at you saying, now satsang is too radical, it is too strange, see, it is too whatever, it's not for you. It's not for you. That is one. So when it says like that you are not cut out for this, then we must say, but then what is the second option? What is the option you are giving? That I should die taking myself to be this flesh and blood, which is only going to the funeral pyre or the graveyard. That is your option, that I should just consider myself to be this. Or your option is that do everything in little bit and all of that, but there's no chance of being with God then and finding God then. You see, so all its options are just in Maya and say, oh, now in the world you will do this, in the world you will do this. But if you say this, all of this is dying and this one is also dying, then what is it that you're really offering me? Then the mind doesn't have really any solution. Then what happens, the second is the beautiful holy helplessness that you're talking about, you see, which is to say that you, Father, you are so beyond anything I can fathom. That you have so much love in your heart is so beyond anything that I can taste. Your light, your presence is so beyond anything I can ever meet. So to stay with you, to stay in your heart, to stay at your feet is not something that I can do. All I can do is keep trying to turn towards you. But you have to pull me in, you have to pluck me out of this play and keep me with you. Because I don't want it any other way now. I'm done with the offers of this world. I'm done with the seeming pleasure and excitement and joy it seems to offer, because I know where it goes. So keep me in whatever way, but keep me with you. That is a beautiful prayer of, to be like an infant. Okay, let's take some questions online. Okay, I've read through most of the messages, but let's go to some of the hands which are up. Let's go to Karunamai.
Namaste, Father. Thank you. I just want to share that once I put my hand up, something internally shifted when there was so much presence, and yeah, I felt you very strongly with me.
Now the thing with this presence is that it does not leave us. You know what I'm going to say next. So you must not leave it. You must not leave it, because it never leaves us. So when we are graced by it, when you're blessed by it, stay with it as much as you can. And then something will trip us up in Maya. Maya is strong. So when we leave, then we just remember to return with whatever helps us to return. And once we return, then we don't leave for as long as we can.
Yeah, I did leave as well. I went, I don't know, I feel in my heart I have to
You have to not leave. That's all you have to.
No, it was funny because I raised my hand in a way for to practical matters, and when this presence came very strongly in me, I thought that Grace knows what I'm here for. And yeah, the matters probably are not important.
For all of us, there are two options, isn't it? Because all of us have practical matters in this life. There is no life without these practical matters. So the two options are that we leave the practical matters to God and we keep our focus on God, or we take charge of the practical matters for ourselves, which is that we leave the presence of God and we use our mind, we use our intellect to try and solve the practical matters. So you know which option is the only good option.
Yeah. And
already when we say practical, I have a sense of where it is going.
I was going to ask for your blessing because I'm probably not even going to say what it is, but one of them, I guess, has been raising a lot of frustration during, like, it's something that hasn't been resolved for many years. And I just wanted to be able to stay in the heart, whatever the outcome is. And the other one made the resolve to its heart.
The question for me always is that how can I serve God in this moment with you? How can I emphasize on this point over and over again that we have to turn fully and become fully reliant on His grace, on His will. So how do I help you to not fully inhale so much of the poison before you look for the remedies to return, to remedies to heal yourself? The only preventative medicine in this world to all these things, anger, resentment, frustration, indecision, the only remedy is His love, His light, His presence. So can you get frustrated without leaving Him first?
No.
So very often I've said this, that we cannot be in heaven and hell at the same time. So our life must become a living example of that. You don't leave as much as you can. We will all be tricked by Maya, but you must not invite its invitation and say, oh, I got the next invitation, let me go. It's invited me again. Now there's a wedding happening in Maya, let me go. I'm not talking about outer wedding. I'm saying that it will come with all these things which seem practical and important. You see? But if we keep falling for its tricks, then what will be the end of this? What is that point of time on which we say, today, right now, enough and no more? I will not fall for your tricks again. At least that commitment has to be 100%. Because if we commit 100%, then when we fail, at least we know that we fully tried to be with God. So, can we make everything into God's domain so that we don't have this idea of spiritual versus practical? Everything is spiritual and everything is practical. Just let's leave it. Can we leave it to God? Can we allow Him to guide us, allow Him to move us?
Yeah.
What is plan B?
Come to Bangalore.
What is plan B? I really want to ask, seriously, what is plan B?
There is no plan.
Do we feel that by not fully committing, by being half for me and half for God, we will come to the end of this suffering, end of this Maya? So, I want to tell you that when things come to our light, grace shows us something, then if we really commit, it really helps. Like I told you a few weeks back that I notice for myself after hearing a satsang by Ananta-Part that I still have this like propensity to get irritated. It's like, so I may not get angry, but I have this like, it's like very Indian irritation type style. So that I notice, and I feel like it is not pleasing to God for me to be like this. As someone whose only joy is to spread His light, I didn't feel like this is in service to God. So then I promise you that with every full-hearted intention, I've been working on it. I've really been working on it. So in the same way, we must not go that easy on the mind and say, I got frustrated, I got this, I got angry, I got all of these things. We must just full-heartedly banish them from our life. And then if Maya grabs us and a situation comes where these things happen, then we go and we pray and we ask for forgiveness. But commit to yourself that you will not fall for these things because they seem very natural. Like even like boredom, frustration, irritation, boredom, all these things, they seem like they're a part of the human condition. But actually it is the fertile ground for such big trouble. So don't fall for these mind attacks so easily. Like, let it work really hard to trouble you. Let it work really hard to trouble you. You see? Let it have to come up with something really fantastic to get you to get troubled and identify. But if we keep falling for the same tricks over and over again, for year after year, years and years, then the mind is winning in this battle for time. So I want all of us to make this promise today that we will commit fully to not leave His presence and not let the mind have it so easy with us. Of course, the outcomes are up to God, are up to His grace. But let's go to God saying, I gave it everything you gave me power over. I gave everything you've endowed me with. I use that to not fall for these things. At least for this body, I don't know how many years it has left, 10, 20, 30, I don't know how many. Even that I don't know, but how much of that time which is left am I going to use to get over the me before I can really use this life to serve God? That must be our question. How much of our remaining life do we want to use to just get over the basic constructs of the me? Fully, nobody will ever get over, at least this one won't. Myself, I won't, but at least these basic constructs. Right now, it seems like the mind has our remote control fully. Little button it presses anger, little button presses frustration, little button something fear, little but we just dancing to all of its tunes. It's like easier for the mind than to put on Netflix and YouTube and all of these things on our TV. So when will that end, and when will we come to a point where the mind is pressing, but we are untouched? Then it has to pull out some special button to make us troubled. Like some special twig. Yeah? But if these regular twigs keep... And when we are troubled, of course, we don't think it's regular. Everyone feels like we have a special brand of a problem, which nobody else understands. Everyone feels that. So, but I'm telling you that we can deepen in our commitment to God and not be so easily swayed by the mind's rantings and pushings. So let's decide for ourselves today how much of the rest of our life is to transcend this me, and how much of it, the remaining part, is to be truly then in service to God, unconcerned with the me. You decide and tell me, then I won't bother you after that. When will we make our life about God and not self-help? And you know the irony of it? To make it about God is the only self-help. So were you saying something? Now you said?
I said no.
Very good.
But
May it be so. May it be so.
thank you.
So 1 week at least, as a fast, no self-concern, no
Good.
self-concern, everything only about God. You
Amen,
do this
Father.
fast? Very good, very good.
My meeting is on 22nd, so yes.
What is on 22nd?
The meeting where I have to be in the heart.
I have no idea. This meeting you have.
Yeah, when I have to be in the heart.
So you start the meeting now where you have to be in the heart.
I start now.
So 1 week, no matter what has to come in the outer world, no self-concern. Commit to that.
Yes.
Because when it is made granular like this, it can seem like more difficult. Otherwise, we very easily we say, my whole life, starting from now, my whole life is for God. But then we say, okay, for the next week, no self-concern, only about God. I feel like, okay, this got real. You see, this got real right now. Because when we speak in broad terms, it seems very easy.
Yeah.
But apply. You have to apply it to your life, my child.
There is a fear that I'm going to fail. But
Yeah, all of us may. It's okay. But our commitment has to be stronger than our fear. That fear is okay. That fear is natural.
thank you.
Thank you. It's a beautiful contemplation, no? About fear. And little bit I've been scratching the surface of that contemplation. And really you see that the fact that God is aware of your every breath and every heartbeat, that He is watching in this way, is great reassurance to a bhakta, great reassurance to a devotee, because really after all the pointers and everything is said and done, we don't know how to pray, we don't know how to remember Him, we don't know how to inquire, we don't know any of these things. But just the fact that my Father is aware of my intention to love Him, of my intention to be with Him, of my intention to find out my true nature, He is aware. That is greatly reassuring, because if He is aware of my intention, He will take care of it. Because I know that He loves me. So there is a great love in this audience of one, as I call it, that the only audience that is important and actually even there is this audience, which is Him. So it's very reassuring. But it is also fearful when we are want to indulge in our mind, when we want to get up to selfishness and personal benefit, winning for ourselves, putting our brothers and sisters down. So, and that, the fact that He is watching us, we want to forget at that point of time. You know, say, I am alone in this room. I am alone. Nobody knows what's going on in me. So we want to forget about that fact, and that fact that he is actually watching then brings some fear, and that is very healthy. That is very healthy. So this is not usually what something we hear in especially Advaita Vedanta type of satsang. But I've really been contemplating this fact, why Tulsidas ji says about the fear of God, why in the Bible they say about the fear of God. In most religions and traditions they talk about the fear of God. What does it mean? Because I meet such a loving God, such a faithful God, such a kind, caring God. I can't imagine like a fear-inducing God. So I wanted to really contemplate this, because when it comes to the great sages and the holy ones themselves, I am nobody to say, no, you were wrong. So they must be right. What is the way they are seeing it and I am not yet seeing it? That becomes a way to then contemplate. So what is the way that so many of them saw it and I am not able to see it that way? So you go to your heart for guidance and you recognize that this fact of God as the pure witness of all of this is great reassurance, is being as if sitting on the mother's lap all your life. But for us wanting to be selfish, the fact that he is watching must never be forgotten. You see, and that not forgetting that fact is what they are referring to as fear. He is aware of my every move, my every intention. Because in words I can play. I can say anything to all of you. Anything I can say. And after 12 years of sharing, I know what works and what doesn't work. So if I wanted to manipulate, I could manipulate also. But to remember that he is watching and this life is just in service to him is so important for us. It stops us from making big things, saying big things. Because to lie in his presence, if Krishna was sitting in front of us in the room and we are just reporting lies to him, what do we feel? That he doesn't know? So if he's sitting here and we are just going on lying and exaggerating and making up stuff and manipulating our brothers and sisters and those we call our children, this is very important to remember. It's very important because as a parent, I want my children, my biological children also to love me deeply. You see? But when it's late, 2 a.m. in the morning and I'm telling them to come home, I want them to follow. You see? At that moment, I just want them to follow. You see? So if they have no fear of a parent, then these kids will be up to no good. So then we are like that, no? If the audience was of many, the many is easy to manipulate. And I'm so sorry to say, but in spirituality it happens a lot where teachers themselves forget that the audience is not these, but the audience is that. Because this attention, this outer love, this outer reverence, respect is very compelling in the human condition. So, especially because all of you will be teachers of God, it's very important to remember that his love and his fear are not actually two different, both are auspicious. Remember that He's sitting there in your heart, and then try to lie with your mouth. Can you do it? If you forget, then it seems easy. कुछ भी बोल सकते हैं, कोई भी. Isn't it? We can all say whatever we want if we forget. Because who's going to come to know? So, He's there, and we committed in His presence. In the holy gathering of Satsang, we committed that we will not fall for self-concern. If you can follow things with that kind of strength and commitment, then the mind won't have a chance. It won't tempt us with tiny things.
Thank you.
Let's go to Divan. Yeah.
Namaste.
Namaste, namaste, Macha.
Almost it became very clear that that without the sense of beingness, like there's like nothing in this like so without this like it's like the light of all experience.
Yes, yes, yes. Exactly.
It's like without the presence of God, like even the sense of pain or like happiness or joy or sadness cannot be experienced.
Yeah.
So merciful and graceful is He that even like when I forget, He's still there as the witness.
Very good. Yes.
I don't know. I was looking at this and somehow I just like felt so much because I rarely cried. I just felt like it's just His love is just it's like without this like even the sense of experiencing having the sense that this is your parents or even to be in this realm like this thing without this is there's like there's neither life or death without this. And this is why I see why you always say that you always have to honor this presence and to honor this beingness. It's just
Very good. It's our highest privilege. It's our highest privilege to be able to honor Him. Very good. Very good. Because without His light, without His love, without His grace, there is no life. Literally, there is no life. Life is just a byproduct of His presence. Just like the movie is just a byproduct of the light of the projector. Without that, there is no life. That's why I keep saying that without God's light, We are already dead. There is nothing without him. Very good, very good. Very good, my dear. Okay, let's go to Sharat.
Namaste, Father.
Namaste, namaste.
Thank you, Father. Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome, dear. Very good, very good, very good. When our attitude, when our intention truly becomes, like the sage said, मेरा मुझ में कुछ नहीं, जो कुछ है वो तेरा, which means there is nothing which is mine in this me. Everything here is yours. So don't keep anything for yourself. Just offer everything to him. Very good. Bless you. Okay, let's go to Muni and Sundari. Very good.
Oh, Father.
Hello.
Can you hear?
Yeah?
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I just felt to raise my hand and yeah. And, thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. What is the
Yeah.
report after that day? How are things after satsang last time?
Yeah, somehow I have not been able to sleep so much, which somehow I don't know, just cannot sleep so much. So still, even today in satsang, like my head is somehow falling. So yeah, and somehow sometimes it gets still like difficult, but it's much softer than after Wednesday. And yeah, I just really took, I think, like what you told to Karna, my also the commitment.
Very good.
And, yeah.
Very good. Just keep inquiring, keep praying. In your prayer, in your inquiry, God also gives you rest. So, His presence is the source of all rest for us. So, He will take care of your sleep and rest, everything. Don't worry. I do sound like that like the one who sells these presumably Ayurvedic medicine. So you go to him, no? You must have seen if you've been to Rishikesh or Tiruvannamalai. So you go to them and they have these bottles of red pills or something like that. So for any ailment you have, they have the same bottle. 50 rupees, take the bottle. Take the bottle. Like that. So I know when I sound in satsang that for everything this one is going to say God will do it, God gives us. But these things, especially these things which are so primal to us, love, peace, rest, sleep, these are just the most basic primal things in the human existence, and they all come from God. So really I have to give the credit where it is due, that we have to stay with God, and then He provides us, He blesses us with all of this.
Just not following to me, Father, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And staying, as your temperament is more inquiry, then not following these thoughts and remaining empty. As you are empty, then naturally you are empty for God. You don't have to say, I am empty for God even. As you are empty of the me, then the lane is cleared up for God. Because the lane is narrow. When we fill it up with me, then there is no space for God. So remain empty like that. Very welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very welcome. Bless you both. Bless you both. Let's go to Etienne. Etienne.
Namaste.
Namaste, namaste, my dear.
Yeah, I feel to resonate a bit with what you said about fear.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for this reminder where it is, I'm sure it touches everybody. And I'm just seeing, contemplating how it resonates in me, and I see I need somehow to express something about the relation. What makes, for me, what makes the fear, this fear that it because I have some, for me, God is, I've rejected the fear.
Yeah.
The fear. I'm not rejecting the fear. I'm just seeing the fear,
Yeah.
and I'm seeing nuance of between awe
Yeah.
and reverence, and I see in me when I'm the fear is still a reaction
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
The reaction of me being seen. And you say, for me, it's very true that I know I am seen, and me is seen, and me can be afraid of being seen, of course, because me is fearful.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. And so what I see, because I know very well the balance between fear, hiding, compensating, being seen, compensating, fear coming again, and so on. This merry-go-round I've been observing a lot in my life.
Yes, yes.
And I see now more and more it is like the sun slowly coming up. I see actually awe and reverence and gratitude are really empowering me,
Yeah.
and fear doesn't.
Yeah.
Fear is still in the reaction cycle. And so I am happy also to share this, because yes, being empowered doesn't mean being more me. It means just leaving him all the space to show me his love inside, and I'm very grateful for this satsang about how we can give him every day this space.
Yeah.
Because yes, we have still. I was contemplating the no effort is actually only happening when the only effort is there, and when there is only one love, then no effort can be reached, but it cannot be fantasized. It cannot be. We cannot pretend.
Yeah.
Not having reached that at all.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, because you are really nourishing this very happy cooking. We can really learn, each one for himself. Thank you so much. Bless you. Thanks so much.
Bless you. Thank you. Very good. Very good. Yes. It's very beautiful. Awe. We are in constant awe, constant reverence. It's very beautiful how these words actually can't really describe, and we to point for the purpose of pointing, we use some words. Like awe is such a beautiful word. Awe. What is it actually? Awe. You could say wonder, but there'd be something missing. You just said you had a wonder about God. Then something is there. So it needs that masala of that something.
imagine.
Yeah, it's just that. Yeah. So whether you call that faith or you call that fear, like wonder mixed with fear, sounds a bit like awe, huh? Bhaya, like that. So, and reverence, like reverence, such a beautiful reverence. But if you say love, love is one of the most beautiful words. But when we say reverence, it is not directly just love. There is a love plus like a respect, like a fear, of a this thing. So, but fear itself we can't define. So just something brings us to an absurd sort of holiness, an absurd sort of stillness within ourselves. And then we struggle with the kind of words to describe it. How would you say your state is? And if you say, I don't know, I'm just turned inwardly towards Him. But it is not just that. You're turned inwardly towards Him, but it is not like a blank turning. As we turn more and more towards Him, we come to this like holiness, this excitement, joy sometimes, this flavor of love and reverence and respect sometimes. Sometimes He's your father, sometimes He's your best friend, sometimes He's the loving mother. So how do we describe? So the simple way to put it is that it's so much joy. When I say, I was telling another child that what can we say about him? So she said, Father, everything we can say about him. I said, the joy is in counting his virtues. Kar kirpa tere gun gawa. I mean that it's also grace that we can sing about his gun, which is not directly virtues, but I can't find the English word for it. You see? Not his attributes, not his virtues, something in the middle there somewhere. You see? So when we say he is so loving, he is so giving, he is so graceful, he is so faithful, there's something about it which is beautiful, you see, which is so beautiful that I can say he is everything. Of course he is. It is also beautiful, but just there's something that enjoys saying, he's my father, he's my mother, he's my best friend. But can we ever really put him into any words? We can't do it. We can't do it. And yet there is joy, like Shiv said, why is there joy in these things? Because He's made it that way. So when I first got into spirituality, then again I heard this concept of Gungawa, praise the Lord. What kind of God wants praise? That sounds very egotistical. These doubts all of us have when we go through. So this was there. Only later on I realized that it's for us. It's for us. It's such a gift to ourselves to sing His praises. That's why the sages have said, give me the grace to be able to sing your praises. Kar kirpa tere gun gawa. Who can understand these things? Only once we start to deepen in our discipleship of the Atma within, So all those things, as a beginner on this path, that my scientific, analytical mind was so clear I was right about, God is showing me that the sages always had it right. And they were not some stupid, primitive people. They were speaking from the depth of their heart, from the depth of their understanding. But because words are inadequate to express, that is why the rationality, our rationality doesn't, it doesn't fit. How can he be the most loving, most caring, most kind, and yet we must fear him? Or a nicer way to say is to be in awe and reverence of him.
Yeah. So, yes, I feel very much what you say, and for me, awe is not primitive at all. It is exactly the contrary of primitive. It is just the it expresses the opening of the whole being to the beingness itself, and it is endless.
Exactly. In the human play, if the sky came and stood in front of us, or if all of space collected and stood in front of us, we'd probably faint, no? Out of whatever you want to call it. So if that, in whose like little finger universes sprout, if that one comes in front of us, not even in the Virat roop, can be normal roop. So how to describe that feeling when he is sitting in your heart? That is the trouble with words, that is the trouble with description. It's a very beautiful report Etienne is making also. I'm not in any way saying anything contradictory to that. I'm just adding to the flavor of that. Very good, very good. Let's go to Samia. Very good. Namaste. Namaste.
Hi, Father.
Hello.
Yeah, I just wanted to come. I didn't want to risk it.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Keep deepening like this. Keep growing in your heart like this. Very happy. Very good. Very good.
Thank you.
Let's go to Chanda. Hello.
I hadn't come for a while, Father, so.
She's looking a bit sheepish because it's got 10 days, 1 year with her. What is the date she went? Yeah. Come.
You don't know how much I'm missing you.
I'll
Thank you
know when
so
you
much.
come.
I'm not going to look even more sheepish, Father, because Monday I'm going to Bhutan
Yes, you told me. It's okay.
for a week.
It's fine. Yeah. That's okay.
I'll keep listening from there.
Yes.
I'll keep listening.
Very good. Yes, Bhutan I've heard from so many is a very beautiful place. Very spiritual, very happy. Very good. It's Monday for a week you go there. That's fine. It's fine. Good.
Thank you so much. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much, beloved Father.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bless you. Okay, one or two questions from the chat. Hi, Father, is boredom a thought and all thoughts lies? And then even when I watch a movie or theater, should I remember God? Yes, we must always remember God. Boredom can seem very innocent and humble actually, but it is a source of big trouble. Because boredom at its root is the idea that what is not enough. I need more excitement, I need more pleasure, I need more joy, I need something. So it's like resistance to what is. You're always able to turn towards God. And because God is always with you, whether we realize the presence or not, therefore there is no room for the idea of resisting what is, the idea of boredom. So just return to His presence, whichever way you're using. If you're using the name, then remember the name. Then the second question was, are all thoughts lies? Well, no thought can express anything true about a single moment in time. You see, forget about that which is beyond time and space. So about God, of course, it cannot express. But a thought really can't represent this moment. And all our sense making, all our meaning making actually gives us contradictory views about what is. It leads to so much conflict, so much trouble in the human condition. But within our own heads, there are so many contradictory ideas that we suffer because of that contradiction, dvand in our heads. So go to a deeper source of truth, which can guide you, which can give you knowledge, which can show you the way, and that is to go to the Atma within. and its ways of guiding you are different from the grasping, selfish nature of the mind. Yeah. You're only going to Bhutan for a week, no?
Yes, Radha.
Yeah, good. Nothing to worry. And by God's grace, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Yeah, so see you soon after that.
Thank you, Father.
Bless.
Thank you. Oh, it's 9 o'clock? Oh, wow. Ah.